What's up everybody, Chris here from Bold Canyon Outdoors and GearAmerica, and I'm out here in the BCO garage, affectionately known as GearAmerica West. Right here, the BCO Adventure Jeep, and this giant box of StreetGlow that we're gonna put in it. So this is kind of a little bit of a daunting task. I got like 100 things to put in the Jeep, but I'm gonna get it all in there, so tag along with me. Bear with me, it's like 100 degrees outside, so I'm inside the garage with the doors shut and the fans on. So if I start sweating like crazy, it's just because it's super hot. So let's get rocking. All right, first off, let me show you what I'm working with here. So I've got the instructions here, and it shows, where everything goes in the vehicle, and then I've got all these individual bags. So I've got, one per wheel well here, got front and rear, 60-inch ones for the side. We've got grill lights. I've got an anywhere you choose, and then I've got this giant bag of harnesses and connectors and everything. So what's going to happen is all the LED strips are going to be put down. Then all the wires go up individually to the main harness here, and that way, if one goes out or one gets unplugged or whatever, they all act independently. You don't ever have to worry about it. I'm going to start kind of laying stuff out of where the wiring is going to go. It's going to go up underneath the Jeep through the firewall. First, make sure we got everything, which I've got everything that was supposed to come in the pack, and now we're going to test all of the strips. Okay, so first things first, we're going to break into this giant bag, which has got all of the wiring harnesses and whatnot. So let me take all these guys and we'll kind of stack them up out of the way. I'm going to grab the main harness bag here. So everything is clearly marked. So we've got all these individual harnesses that are different lengths for different parts of the vehicle. This one looks like the main battery hookup here. I'm going to set this right over here, and we're going to kind of set all these other small ones aside. We've got zip ties. Going to need a lot of those. Some smaller wiring harnesses, different lengths of zip ties. More wiring harnesses, more wiring harnesses, more wiring harnesses, and more. So these are all marked. So here's a W296 and a W296. Here's a 2216 and a 296 again. 2144, 24S. This one's got a whole bunch of them on it. I'm going to set that one right there with this other 24S. 2216, another 2216, 296, 24S. All right, now first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to take the main harness and we're going to hook it up to power, because that's how we test the LED strips to make sure everything is fully functional before we start the massive install. So this is the main harness, and you can see you've got black and red for positive and negative on the battery, and a big relay there. Nice long harness here, and there's your switch. Off and on. That's going to go in the cab, and then it terminates in 1, 2, 3, 4 large hookups that are all marked. Connect four-way. Okay, so these are all pretty clearly marked on what gets connected where, which is really nice. That's one thing I like about this kit, is the instructions are very easy to follow, and even though this looks like a giant mess, everything is clearly marked and gives you the right directions on where to go. All right, so we're going to take each LED strip and we're going to connect it to the extension wire. Now I'm just going to start with one here. This is one of the 36 inches that goes in the front or rear, which is the HD36GR, which is the heavy duty 36-inch green. We'll pop this guy out so you can get a real good look at what comes in all the bags. So this is what the LED strip looks like. So you got the 3M tape, let me get it closer, 3M tape on one side, LED strip. Now this is all rubberized and very flexible, impact resistant, very, very nice. You've got this whole setup, and each one also comes with a couple of self-tapping screws and alcohol prep pads, because the end of each of these has an eyelet on them. You don't ever have to worry about them coming loose or falling out if you've got them screwed in. All right, we take this guy and then one of the W24S's. If you notice, it's got a bunch of small plugs on one end and a big plug on the other. And that big plug matches up with the main wiring harnesses, big old plug here. So what you do, you see, you got the male end, female end. It is slotted right here. So you got to make sure your slot's in the right place. Got my glasses on so I can see. Line up a little slot on the inside with a little slot there, and you push it together, and then it screws together like this. Now you see the little red O-ring? That's to keep water and grit and grime out. So all of the connectors are set up like this. So this screws together, locks into place nice and tight. So you've got a water resistant connection. Over here, you've got the same thing, just smaller. I'm gonna back up so you can focus. So you've got the one big one here, actually, you know, several big ones, and then they branch off into smaller ones, but they all have those nice little waterproof connections. So I'm gonna take one of these and I'm gonna hook it to one of these 36-inch ones. So we'll plug that in, and same thing. We're gonna screw the connector tight. All right, so now I have one LED strip, so I'm gonna set right here, hooked up to the main harness to test. Here's the switch, off, on, off, on. So I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna test each one individually by plugging them in, screwing them shut, making sure they work off and on with the switch. We're gonna test all the wiring harness. So I'm gonna do all that and we'll get right back with you. All right, each light is tested and I've got them laid out all over the place. I've got front wheel, rear wheel sitting on the fender back there. Got wiring laid down the side. I've got both the grille and the front 36-inch right here. Wheel well, another wheel well sitting on the back fender. And then I've got wiring laid out on the floor. And then, of course, we've got the 36-inch for the rear sitting there. So I've got them all laid out. Now for the fun part. Let's start getting these things mounted and getting the wires in the right place. Right here is the switch. That's going to go all the way across through the firewall to my dashboard. So that's going to be the main power on and off switch. Then I've got the relay and the fuse, the positive and the negative. Now I've got a dual battery setup, so I've got a negative here and a positive here. I can leave this on all the time and it won't drain the starter battery. It'll run off the house battery. So I'm going to hook that up. And then of course I've got the main wiring harness with all 4 of these big beefy connections. And what I've done is I've tucked it right down here beside the battery next to the main support. It's not going to go anywhere. I'll pull it out and I'll put a zip tire on it and secure it before I put it all the way back in. But next up, like I showed you, we've got wires all the way down both sides. I've got all of the components laid out, stretched out where they need to be. So next, hopefully you can see this. You see these wires have got to go all the way down to the side and up to the main harness. So next up, I'm going to do the rear and the 2 rear wheel wells. I'm going to start with those since they're all the way at the back of the vehicle. So those are going to require some of the longest connectors. Now the 2216, like this one, and the 2144 are the longest ones that we have. I have one of each down each side of the vehicle. The Jeep's only 15 feet long. So I don't know if we're going to really need something super duper long. So I might not need the really long ones. I might be able to do with the almost really long ones. So I'm going to stretch them out and I'll be right back. All right, this isn't going to be the easiest thing in the world, but you can see I've got a gap right down through there. So I'm going to be feeding the wires to the passenger side rear wheel well, and the rear strip are going to go right down through here and along the bottom of the Jeep. So let's go ahead and get those stuffed in there. But as you can see, this is the wire that I've got to run all the way to the very back for the one that is going on the rear bumper. So I have lots of options. I can actually run it through the frame rail here and all the way down, but I also have to think about where I'm going to mount the underglow for the sides. So this is my rock slider right here. Obviously I hit that on stuff, but I'm thinking I'm going to run the underglow. I'm going to clean up the frame here and I'm going to run it right down the frame here, or maybe tuck it up on the inside. Need to think about that before I run this wire all the way back. But I have that piece right here, so I can take a look at some different options on that. And then I'm going to get this wire right here, run all the way to the back. Alright, so there is the back wheel well and the 36-inch for the rear bumper. They're run all the way up, and now I just need to run them to the lights themselves. We'll get the side one done on this side and we'll move to the other side. Alright, so you can see I've got the first wheel well one mounted clear up inside there. Now I've got aluminum fender flares and I can't exactly put a self-tapping screw in it, but luckily I've got these 2 little aluminum bridges that are going to kind of hold it in place. If anything comes loose, it should be just fine. But that 3M tape it lasts a long time. Here's the first wheel well. I just need to run this wire up to here and get it all bundled up, and we've got one wheel well done. All right, here's the progress so far. So I've run 3 wires up inside my rock slider. They're all getting zip tied on here, and they run all the way to the back. So the first one stops at the first one. That's the 60-inch. It goes right here. It goes right inside the rocker panel. You can see I've got the other 2 wires zip tied right here to this support, and those go all the way back to the wheel well and the rear 36-incher. So I'm almost done with this side. I just need to put in a zip tie right here to secure these wires, and then they run up to the inner fender well and up to that gap that I showed you before. So I just need to go up there afterwards and secure it, add the 4th light for this side that's going to go up front, and then I move to the other side. All right, so I'm moving to the 4th light on the passenger side, and as you can see, it's going to sit right up in this wheel well. And this is a Poison Spider aluminum front flat fender, which has these nice little braces in here that the light can sit right on top of. So I've got it all cleaned underneath. Then this wire is going to tuck right in the inner fender well. I'm going to get it all, secured in place, and we're going to attach it up here, and that's going to be the 4th one on this side. So let me get this one attached and we'll test it out. All right, guys, so I've got the complete passenger side done, so let's check it out. I hooked up the power. Here's the switch. Got under the front wheel well, under the sides. Now keep in mind, it is bright daylight out right here. Under this wheel well, I don't know if you'll see the back, but oh yeah, it's glowing back there. All right, so the passenger side is done. Time to start working on the driver's side. All right, with the first side completed, I just wanted to show you what I've done with the wiring. So I've got a bundle of wires tucked in right here. This is the wiring harness for the second side. So it's actually going to go right along here. You can see this rubber grommet, and it makes contact right here with the hood. So this is all open space. So I'm going to run wires right across there. And then I've got the third harness here, which is going to go under my box and out and do the grill, the Spider logo, and the bumper, and the front end up here. Now we'll just come over to this side. And I've still got my wires laid out, but since I've already done the back one, the 36-inch, all I have to do is the driver's side wheel well, the 60-inch under here, and this wheel well on the wiring harness that's going to come across here. So that's going to be relatively simple. It's going to come in, it's going to tuck right down here, go out through the wheel well, the inner fender liner, just like the other side. We'll zip tie it into place. Those 3 should go on really easily. And then I'll be able to do some custom work on the front. We'll take the grill off by removing these grommets. This just pops right out. I'm going to put some lights behind the grill and behind the bumper and under the bumper. So it's going to be gorgeous. So let's start running wires for the driver's side. We'll start with the longer one that goes to the wheel well back there. I'm just laying them in place for now, and then of course I'll go and secure everything once we're done. Now, one thing you always want to do is make sure you're going around wires properly. You got hoses, wires, things like that, and you don't want to go on the wrong side and end up having things crimped and bunched up where they don't want to be. So here's the switch. This is just going to lay on top of the motor until I'm ready to run it through the firewall at the very end. It's going to come right through here where the brake in the seal is, and it's going to go right down here to the wheel well. I've made it difficult on myself because I got an ARB compressor and switch and everything right here, so it's going to be a little bit of a tight squeeze, but I'll get it through there, no problem. All right, that's for the wheel well. Now, the next one will be for the 60-inch that goes on the side, so we'll get that plugged in. I'm going to leave a little bit of play right here because I know I'm going to have to pull a little bit back through, and we're going to bundle it up. And there's room down here to tuck a little bundle that's zip tied together. All right, so next up, I'll clean up the rear wheel well. We'll get that light affixed. We'll get these 2 wires run underneath here and just keep on motoring. All right, with the 3 done on the driver's side, now I can put one right behind the grille, under the front end, and in the little spider logo in the bumper. So let's first get the grille up. Pop the turn signals out, makes it a little bit easier. Then you can just take the whole thing off. All right, I think I'm going to run it right up here on the inside so it shines down and makes the whole radiator glow. So the wire's got to come out from this side. So if I flip it over to clean it, the wire's got to come out the other side. Don't want to make that mistake. Now I do know that there may be a little bit of interference with this wiring right here, so I'm going to put it as low as I can against the slots, and that should alleviate any fitment problems. I've been doing a lot of cleaning with a whole bottle of alcohol and then going back with one of the supplied alcohol swabs and cleaning it again one last time. My Jeep's pretty dirty, so I want it to stick well. So this is a 24-inch that goes right here. But remember, power cord has to go on this side. So, like I said, don't want to mess that up. All right, nice and clean. Get the backing off. Which, in all honesty, that's one of the most difficult parts of this install, is just getting the backing off the 3M tape. That's no fault of StreetGlow. That's just 3M. They want this stuff to stick and stick good. So guys like me can't see anyways. There we go. Hey, that was pretty easy that time. All right, power cord goes on this side. Get that centered-ish. It's that easy. All right. Give it a squeeze so it gets a nice tight purchase. I've been doing this all the way around the Jeep. Felt like I was trying to bench press the Jeep when I was doing the ones on the side, but I'm not that strong. All right, so that's the one for inside the grille. So now I'm going to run this wire before I put the grille back on, and we'll hook it up and put the grille back in. So this is number 4 on this wiring harness over here. Has the driver's side rear wheel well, driver's side front wheel well, driver's side, and the grille. Then the last harness I'm going to use is going to be for the bumper and underneath the bumper. And that'll come out this side here. It's one of those things that, yeah, it's a tight squeeze. You just take your time, feel your way through, and it's actually a really simple install, even with all the extra stuff I have on here, like an ARB compressor, lighting, all kinds of stuff. I know I'm probably out of frame right now. I apologize. Okay. All right, so this guy's going to go right up through here, and we're going to find a way to go right here. I'll secure all those wires in a minute. Now the grille can go back on. All Oh, that's nice. All right, fasten the little fasteners on the grill, and then we can move to underneath the bumper with the last wiring harness. There's one. All right, it's not nighttime yet, but I wanted to show you the finished product. Still a little light outside, but I turned off the garage lights anyway. So let's take a look and see what we've done here. So I ran the switch to the firewall, through the firewall. Do a switch right here. And here we go. That is a lot of green glow. Got the spider glowing down here, underneath. The grill. All the wheel wells. All the way down the side. Oh, squeezing between cars. And of course in the back. Looking sharp. In a few hours when it's really dark outside, I'll just go outside and get a good view of it and add that to the video. But we are good to go. That was actually a really easy install. It takes a little bit of time, but if you take your time, lay the wires out, and get up underneath there, it's actually a pretty simple install. So there it is. That's the StreetGlow on a 2014 Wrangler Rubicon Unlimited, and that is the Wild Kit.